Good evening, class. We'll start with Indian economy today. Let's just start the lecture. All the details, why do we read economy, what is economy, all things I will be explaining in the lecture itself. Economy is such a subject, if you read it well, if you understand it well, you will read and understand the government. Whatever step government is taking economically or even politically or even in the administrative department, whatever it is doing, why it is being done, all the details you will get to know when you understand the basic economy concepts. All of you who all are present, just make sure that forget everything what you know till now. This I will try to say because my teaching methodology is different. I know whatever I have taught in history, you might get in some books, but whatever I am going to teach in economy, you will get in those books, but the meaning which I am giving you, this will be not only knowledgeable for your examination, but also will help you in understand the basic economic concepts. Okay? So, that is why I am saying if you know anything beforehand, try to forget it. Okay? Start. What are we going to discuss today? The basic economy concepts. What is economics? Economics has been made up of two words, Greek word oikos and nomos. Oikos means family, household or state, and nomos stands for custom or law. Before we start, remember, why do we read economy? Why do we read economy? Why is it necessary? First thing, to pass the examination. That is the first purpose. Second purpose, to understand ki what is generally going in and around. Everyone knows ki without the existence of an economy, even in a basic custom small household, everywhere economy is present. Even if you are studying this class, there is also economy present. Each and every time some activity which is happening in and around the world is relating to economy. So, that is why economy becomes the most important subject of your syllabus. Management of scarce resources is the essential meaning of economics. Remember, there are some central problems of an economy. First, resources which are present, they are scarce. Demands on the other hand are unlimited. For example, let us say if I am being able to afford, let us say, a phone worth rupees, let us say 5,000 rupees, okay, 5,000. So, generally what would I want? I would want to go beyond this 5,000 when I buy the phone next time. I would want a costly one. If my friend is using, let us say, iPhone, so I will also want that I should also have an iPhone which is of, let us say, 1 lakh rupees, and my phone on the other hand is of 5,000 rupees. So, people want to grow, that is a general tendency. Demands are something which never ends, it is a never ending process. For example, if you are able to eat once in a month in a restaurant with your family, you will want to make that weekly. On every Sundays or Saturdays, you will want to go to restaurant with your family. Doesn't matter if you love the food of home the most, doesn't matter. But as you grow grow rich more, you generally tend to spend more. If you were able to, you say ki if you are able to buy or afford, let us say 2 meals per day, now if you are earning more, you will try to make it 3, and even if you do not try to make it 3, if you are happy with 2 meals, okay, then if you are having chicken once in a week, then you will try to make it 3 times in a week. Okay, you will try to have a balanced diet, you won't try to have only dal roti every time. You will bring changes, you will trend and you will shift to vegetables more, you will buy milk more because now you are earning more. So as you earn more, you tend to spend more. That's the general tendency. So demands are something which are unlimited. Everyone wants, okay, I won't say everyone because exceptions are everywhere. Exceptions are everywhere in the society. Okay, some people are born with the satisfactory nature ki whatever I am having, I am happy with it. If I am scoring 90 examination, 90 in let's say mathematics, some people start crying, oh, why didn't I got 100 out of 100? Why didn't I score more from my friend who is getting 95? Why didn't I get 95, or why didn't I score 96? This is the general tendency. But some are those people like me that even if they are getting 33 out of 100 in mathematics, I used to be happy. Oh Bhagwan, pass ho gaya. I just passed. Okay, thank you. Please keep your blessings with me so that I can keep passing this subject. Mathematics was always easier for me till class 5. Whenever there were numbers, I was a high scorer. But when English came, A, B, C came into mathematics. After that, those triangles, rectangles, these things came. I forgot mathematics, whatever I knew. Still, because of that, I generally hate science subject because I don't understand that. You can say I am having a low IQ, or you can say I didn't get the, that will be an excuse, but at that time I wasn't able to understand the concepts very well. If someone would have come and told me, yes, this is not hard, this is a simple concept, I was that kind of a person who tries to find usefulness in each and everything. Even if I am playing, it should give me in return. I am that kind of a person. So mathematics never suited me. So that was the point when I understood ki mathematics is not my cup of tea, I should shift to another subject. Same time when accountancy came, it also had numbers, but I was happy with it because it didn't had ABC in it. So whenever ABC came, I became confused. Okay, I was happy with that construction mode. Whatever triangles we used to make, equilateral, bilateral, this lateral, that lateral, whatever it was, I was happy with it. So this story I am just telling you to let you know ki this is a tendency of the people. If people are being able to afford a scooty, they will also try to buy a car at some point of time in their life. If they are having a WagonR, or let's say if they are having a Honda City, they will want to buy a BMW someday. If they are having a BMW someday, they will want to buy a Lamborghini someday. It is a general tendency. People grow. People want to grow. The demands never end. So this is it. But the resources to fulfill those demands are scarce. These are two central problems of an economy. Two central problems. Resources are scarce and demands are unlimited. So allocation of those scarce resources is what economy is. Allocation of scarce resources to suitable places, that is what economy is. Okay. It encompasses production, distribution, trade and consumption of goods and services. Sir Adam Smith, who is also known as the father of economics, he said कि economics is nothing but an inquiry into nature and it is the causes of the wealth of nations. Okay. He said कि if you tend to inquire more, for example, let's say people used to tie a rope to a bucket and then used to pull water from the well. Someone came, he discovered a pulley. People used to walk, someone came, he discovered a wheel. Discover, get it patented, earn. Whoever is using your technology, he will have to pay you because that is your innovation. That technique you have given to the society. Wright brothers nahi hote, if Wright brothers wouldn't have been there, would you be able to see aeroplanes? Might have, but not too early. Wright brothers invented and we had it. This light is there, Thomas Alva Edison, this camera is there, this pen is there, everything it has been discovered or invented. So Adam Smith was very correct, because when in Britain industrial revolution took place, it became a cause for the wealthy nature of the British. British became wealthier after that. They had so much money. They went, and all, being such a small country on the world map, it was able to rule almost all over the world, even America. So that is because it had money. E is equal to E, economy is equal to empire. Always remember, if you have economy, you will have the empire. You can see the Antilia of Mukesh Ambani. Am I having an Antilia? No, I am not having a flat also. That is also on rent. I have to pay rent for that. But Mukesh Ambani is having an Antilia with a helipad, with swimming pools, because he inquired. Okay, he inquired. He saw ki what is needed in the society. He gave Jio. Today it is the leader of the telecom market in India. Everything, if you go and inquire, you will earn, that's for sure. Okay, think big. Economics and economy, what is the basic difference? In our day-to-day life, all is given. We use lot of economic concept. We use market, we use production, we say consumption, all we keep using it. So actually in this classes I will try to tell you ki what these things is. Goods, market, demand, supply, price, inflation, banking, tax, lending, borrowing, rate of interest, etc. It is the study of making decisions in the presence of scarcity of resources in the economy. This is economics, nothing else. Remember, you don't have to study economics. Your syllabus says economy. And generally questions are asked from this sector only. Let's know what is economy, what do you have to study. Our very existence depends upon various economic activities that involves production, consumption, investment. The primary aim of the economic activity, production of goods and services, human activities which are performed in exchange for money are called economic activities. The environment that facilitates these activities known as economy. So what it is trying to say, okay, ki if economic activities would not have been existence, the human existence would not have been possible. Why is it saying that? Because if you are not producing anything, how will you consume? I am not talking about India, it's not about India, it's not modern Indian history, it's a general concept. If you are not producing anything, how will be able to consume? If pen was not being produced or not invented, how would a person write? By the help of a coal. Is it possible? It is also a scarce resource. How many pages will you write with a coal? Pen came, ink came, all was discovered. So if we are producing anything, then only we will be able to consume. So the environment that facilitates these activities, these economic activities, that is economy. So we have to read that environment. Am I clear to everyone? Am I clear to everyone till now? Any doubt? Feel free to ask. Ask as much as possible doubts. I will be happy to answer all of them. Economic agents. These people are those individuals or institutions which actually take economic decisions. These are those that they take economic decisions. They can be consumers also, who decide how much and what to consume and how much to consume. For let's say, if I am having 6 chapatis daily, okay, I am having 6 chapatis daily, then the person who is producing will get this notice from me, yes, this person needs this much of wheat or flour to make his chapatis. Okay, if I am consuming 50 grams of rice per on a daily basis, then the person will know, yes, he will need 50 gram rice. If I am consuming 100 grams of chicken daily, then the person will know, yes, he needs 100 gram. If I am having half liter milk daily, then the person will understand that this is his demand. So this economic activity, we are also economic agents, the consumers, okay, who decide how much and what to consume. For example, let's say, you know, a time when Yarana movie came of Amitabh Bachchan, bell bottom pants, the pants which men wear, the lower portion, they used to be this much big. They were in fashion because people said that if Amitabh Bachchan and Vinod Khanna can wear that, we can also wear, we will also wear, because that is in fashion. Everything what is happening, we are wearing, that is in fashion. If Salman Khan is keeping that Tere Naam hairstyle where the hair is coming to his eyes, okay, so we will also keep that hair. So all that was in fashion. So people started wearing those. So people gave a notice to the consumers that we are having a demand for this. But all of a sudden what happened? Key producers weren't able to understand that these fashion which come for a temporary timing, they remain for only some days. After 3 to 4 months, the demands started decreasing, but the producers didn't understand. They started producing and they kept producing, but once came a time ki there was so much of bundles and it went unsold. So all that money got wasted. So it is very important, okay, to understand the needs of the consumer. Okay, the needs of the consumer. What does the consumer need? For example, let's say if I am going home today, I am too tired after taking 2 lectures. So I am not in that condition who will go to home and make a cup of tea for him. So I am consuming that tea today outside my office only. So when I will go home, I won't be able to buy that half liter milk from that milkman. So he will be, that half liter milk will get wasted for him, or he will have to sell it to some other customer. So this is important ki he should also understand ki the demands of the consumer can keep changing time to time. Consumers keep giving those signs. Okay, so it is very important for them to understand this. This is okay. They may be producers of goods and services who decide what and how much to produce. It is very important to understand. After understanding the consumer's demand, now it comes to the producers. If the consumer is demanding this thing, what should and how much to produce? Okay, how much to produce? For example, let's say example of a momo seller. On a sudden day, let's say yesterday it was raining in Delhi. So when he came to his shop, he came with 500 momos that he was able to sell daily. But after 1 hour, the rain stopped and people wanted to have some crispy and handmade fine momos. So they went there. When they reached there, they demanded. So till 10 PM daily, he was able to sell only 500 momos. The demands were so high that he was able to sell 500 momos by 9:30 itself. So he had to close his shop. But he will also have to understand that was for temporary basis. That can't be done on a daily basis, because by understanding this as your demand, if you increase the quantity of your momos, next day it will go wasted. You can't consume that whole as your dinner. If 100 momos are getting wasted, you can't consume all of them. Okay. So it's also necessary to understand the demands of the consumer. Listen, I am going very slow in this so that you understand each and everything till now. Okay. This may be again like the government corporation banks which also take different economic decisions, like how much to spend, what interest rate to charge on the credits, how much to tax, etc. For example, let's say it was the COVID pandemic this time. So when COVID pandemic was there, then what happened? The government knew that the demands are not in the market. People generally are not having money, so they are spending less. They are spending only on the essential items. They have lost interest in spending now because they fear that either they will able to earn or not. Not everyone is Mukesh Ambani or Ratan Tata who is having enough money, so that even if the market doesn't open for 5 years, they will be able to survive. This is not the case with these people. So again what happened? Now government thought that we should just put money in the market to increase the demand. We should give money to the banks, which will make interest rates come down, because bank will be having huge amount of money. So it will have to lend to, when you are trying to lend more, when supply is more, general concept, supply is more, demand is less. So what will happen? Let's say, don't understand like that. Let's say ki if I had my dinner, I had, let's say 4 chapatis at dinner. I daily have 4 chapatis. I am having. After that, someone comes, someone of my friend comes. He said, listen, I ate outside today, so I have brought biryani for you also. So when my stomach is filled, okay, it is actually filled now. So what will I do that time? The biryani is also attracting me because it is tasty, it is delicious than this chapati. So I will be eating that biryani, but I can't consume that whole. Okay, my demand actually becomes less because my stomach is already filled. Where will I eat? I can maximum have, that is 2 or 3 spoons. After that I am done. So my demand for that commodity goes down because I don't need that now. I am already filled. So this is the case. When supply is more, you are supplying more cold drinks in winter. People don't drink cold drinks in winter that much because they have the fear that their throat, they will be having throat infection, they will be having cough, cold, and they can also have fever. And if all these symptoms are happening, it can also be corona. So people are fearing to drink these cold drinks. Then again you are producing at a rate which we was producing in the summer. So what will happen? What will happen? The sales will go down. Since you have produced more, so supply is more, your demands are less. Okay, sorry. Yeah, since supply is more, demand is less. When demand is less, supply is more, so the price will also come down. If you want to sell, then decrease the price, otherwise no one is going to buy. Understand? So it was the same thing. Banks are having more money, demands are less. So what will happen? The interest rate will come down for sure. Basic economy concept. When demand is more, supply is less. Let's say a shopkeeper is having, let's say 10 kgs of potato. 20 customers are there who all want 1 kg each. So when demand is high, supply is less, then whoever pays more will be getting those potatoes. This is like auction, IPL. Everyone wants AB de Villiers in his team. Everyone wants MS Dhoni, Virat Kohli in their team. So whoever is paying more, he is getting it. This is a simple economic concept. If everyone is wanting, then the price is going higher and higher and higher, and then comes a situation that no one is being able to afford more than that money. So it is also a simple demand and supply concept. Am I clear to everyone? Am I clear to everyone? So when government saw कि people are not having money, then it said कि how much to spend. So it given a 20 lakh crore package. It spended more. What interest rate? Interest rate should come down. It came down. How much to tax? Tax rates also at that time they said कि you can pay your tax afterwards. Rates weren't made less, but they said कि we are giving you time. You can pay it afterwards. So all this was done. This is simple economics, nothing. Economic activities. Now, very important. Economic activities. What are the three basic economic activities? Those are production, consumption and investment. These are basic economic activities. Three important or basic. They all are interrelated and interdependent. How? Please can you show it, sir? Okay. For example, production, consumption, investment. Okay. How it is interrelated? Let's say if consumer wants, if the consumer, let's say he wants that in winter I want, you can say more gulab jamun. Okay, hot gulab jamun served along with gajar ka halwa is customers favorite at this time. So what will happen? Now the producer has got a sign कि in the winter season customers love, in summer season customers love ice cream, so the sale of ice cream goes up. This all happens. So they are giving a signal to the producer कि what to produce. Producer now understands कि since it's the winter, so we will be having gajar, carrot. Okay, all those who don't understand what is gajar, this is carrot. Okay, rabbits love it, we also love it. So it's basically a pudding made of carrot. Okay, gulab jamun, I don't know its English because I have never said it, but gulab jamun is type of a rasgulla. If you have seen rasgulla, it's white color, then gulab jamun is a bit brown in color, but it's very tasty, served with vanilla ice cream. If you haven't tried, go and try it. Try it today only, because in the whole week you all had many lectures. Okay, so give yourself a break. Tomorrow is also lectures, but enjoy today. Hot gulab jamun served with vanilla ice cream. Since I suggested you, so I am also gonna have it for sure. I am assuring you I am gonna have it. You also have it. Okay, and then tell me how was the recipe. It's very easy. Okay, so these are the signs to the producer ki sir what you need to consume or what you need to produce for us. Producer also consumes, but when the producer is consuming, from where will he get the investment? He also needs the investment to run a business. ठीक है, he also needs the investment to run a business. So when I said it's interrelated and interdependent, now I am going to teach you a new topic, that is circular flow of income from the very topic itself. Okay. Now in this screen I will try to teach you what is circular flow of income. It's very easy. In every economy, bacha, in every economy there are some parties. Okay, who are the parties here? Now see, one are the households. and another one are investors, or let's say entrepreneurs or businessmen. This is it. Okay. Another one is the intermediary between these two. Between these two there is a intermediary known as bank. So when this household, let's say he earns 10,000 per month, 10,000 per month. In every month, after giving rent, school fee, fooding, lodging, after all the activities, this person is able to save 500 rupees per month. So those are his savings. So he fears that if he keeps that in home, it might go away in theft. Anyone can steal it. It might be stolen away, or can be just cut off by rats, okay, the mouse. So these people have this fear. So they say, okay, let's go and keep it in a safe place. So what is the safest place? Safe place is banks' lockers. So they go and deposit that money in the bank. Keep making this diagram in your notebook, very important. Keep making it. Okay. So they go and keep those savings in the bank. Now the businessman, let's say Mr. Ambani, he wants to start a business in, let's say, Noida. Okay, it is adjacent to Delhi only, near to Delhi, not adjacent. So he comes to the bank and says, ki bank bhaiya, bro. Bank says, what happened, man? He says, hey bro, I just need some loan because I need to start a new business. So bank says, ki okay, I'll be giving you loans, but are you having any collateral or something? So he says, ki listen, I have that land for which I am taking the loan. So if I am not being able to return the loan, you can always capture that. Bank says, okay, I will give you loan. I will give you loan. So bank give loans to the business. This money is not bank's money. Bacha, please try to understand this. Bank is getting money from the households as savings, and that same money is being provided to businessmen as loans. When it is providing loans, it is also charging some interest on it. Bank is also charging some interest on it. Let's say it is giving them loans at the rate of 9%. On general savings account, what is the interest rate you are getting? Normally it is 4%. Nowadays it is near around 3 or 2.5. Okay. So this 5%, whatever is bank left with, this is the bank's income. This is the bank's income. This income of bank is known as spread. Okay. Total means whatever interest charged minus interest paid is the bank's income, also known as spread. Okay. 5% is bank's spread. I hope I am clear to everyone till now. Even if I am not, once I complete the diagram, then I will reach out to you again. So write it bank spread, then so that I can erase it. I don't have space. So this is it. Here comes the savings, here comes the loan, here goes the interest, here goes the interest. Okay. Now when this Ambani sets up a plant, okay, then at the same time what happens? When the plant is set up, after that what will happen? It will start producing. So it is again the producer. So for whom it is producing? It is producing for the consumers only, which are the households. Now again let me give you some detail ki how can something be produced. Okay, these were in the next slides, but let us do it here only. There are 4 basic things for production. also known as factors of production. If these factors of production aren't there, then production is not possible. So let's just know factors of production, and on the other side we will write factors payment. Okay. So coming back here, factors of production. What are the factors of production? Can any one of you give me that answer? Factors of production. Devashish says demand. ना, no बच्चा, बहुत गलत हो, very wrong. Labor says Kumud. Okay. Capital, land. Another one. Anargha and Kumud has almost made the answer correct. Only one is left. Land, labor, capital is there. Okay, let me give the last one. Entrepreneur. Okay, entrepreneur. Land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. This is it. So these are the factors of production. So when Reliance comes, the businessman, sorry to use the word Reliance, but it is an example. So when this businessman comes, so if he tries to get a land, from where is he getting it? If let's say it comes and sets up a factory in a village, it will be buying that land from the villagers itself. Yes or no? Yes or no? The answer is yes. Although I can't listen you, but I know the answer will be yes. Okay. Labor, it is setting up a factory, let's say in Nagpur. So labor is also being given by Nagpur only. Let's say Walmart is setting up a factory, or Tesla is coming to Bangalore. So all the employees can't be from America, except some 2 to 3 main officials, or let's say 20 or 30 main officials. All the 250 or 500 employees which will be working in Tesla, they won't be of American origin. Those will be locals only, local Indians, not only Bangalore, the people from Karnataka. Okay, so this is the case. So this labor also being provided by households only. Capital, the savings, these are the money of households only, and this money goes into the hands of businessmen. So this is also being provided by the households only. Entrepreneur, he is himself the entrepreneur. The 4 factors of production. So these people are giving them the factors of production. Yes or no? I hope it's yes till now. Please reply. Any doubts till now? Feel free to ask, bacha. Let's just understand कि when this factor of production is done, when this factors of production is done, then on every factor, when they are giving you land, so you will have to pay them rent. Yes or no? Answer is yes. So for land, these are the factor payments. These are the factors of production. These are the factor payments. On land, you will have to pay rent. Yes or no? Yes. Labor, they should be paid wages. Mazduri, also known as mazduri, wages. Capital, you should be providing interest. And an entrepreneur works for the profit motive. So entrepreneur gets back profit. His main purpose is to earn profit. So these are the 4 factor payments. Okay. So when it is buying land from him, or getting land rented from him, or getting laborers from there, so he'll be also paying them factor payments. I hope everyone have written till now. If you haven't, please write it down in your notebook faster. I only will give 1 minute. If you are not making it with me, you will have to make it with me. Otherwise, the video will be on LMS. You can access anytime. but do write it now if possible. I am explaining each and everything in detail. Circular flow of income is the heading, so don't write it in this diagram. This is the heading in which I am explaining these things. Okay, so now it's done. Okay, so factors of production and factor payments. So can you see these all are interrelated? Production process, consumption process, investment process, all these things are interrelated. Since I have made this diagram, let me introduce a new player. Okay, a new player, he plays very well, Mr. Government. Mr. Government. When government comes in, what is the role of government? The government will try to ensure that more production takes place, more and more production takes place. So they will give a lollipop to the, let's say, businessman. Lollipop is like they are trying to boost the business, so they are giving them some benefits. So they will provide them with subsidies, because more production, more exports, more foreign currency, more foreign reserves, better the economic growth possible. Understand? Better GDP, better per capita income. The government will always be happier with this process. So government will be providing them with subsidies. What they are providing to the government? Answer is taxes, corporate tax, excise tax, custom duty, many taxes. These people keep providing them. So government is getting taxes in return. Again, what are these households getting now? These households, bachcho, they are also paying taxes to this government, bhaiya. They are also paying taxes to the government. Okay. So this diagram becomes complete. Acha, what government does for these households? They do not get benefited directly, it is for everyone, but the government in return makes infrastructure, health facilities, education facilities, makes the standard of living better. Okay, better standard of living. So you can say that government gives to all of them in return a better standard of living for these taxes paid. I hope I am clear to you, all of you. If you always have any doubt, feel free to ask. Don't worry, I can explain this diagram for 99 times if you want. Don't worry about me. I am happy only because I am teaching. I am always happy when I am teaching. I don't get tired while teaching. Okay. So feel free to ask if you have any doubt. Sir, explain again. Rajkumar, which portion is doubtful? Please tell me. Okay, Rajkumar, for you, although if you have doubt particular, don't worry, I am explaining it all over again. Three parties are there. One are the households, one are the intermediaries, that is bank, one is business. Please don't consider bank here. Household existing. Households, when they are earning, they tend to save something for future purposes, for uncertainties. Okay. No one knows ki when there will be a health issue in family. No one knows ki if your child wants to go to America for further studies. So you always need to save. So when this person is having savings, he goes to the bank with that savings and he deposits in the bank. Now, what will happen? Mr. X, who is an entrepreneur, businessman, he needs to start a business. So he comes to the bank and says ki bank, I need money. Bank says, okay, I'll give you money. So bank provides him loan. On that loan, mister, he has to pay some interest to the bank. Okay, and bank will also have to pay interest to household. Let's say this household is Ram, this bank business is Mr. let's say Duryodhan. Okay, Duryodhan is the businessman and Ram is the household. Ram earns, saves and gives that money to the bank. Who is bank here? Let's say Narad. Mr. Narad bank is there. तो नारद बैंक में पैसा कौन जमा करा रहा है राजकुमार? It is being done by Mr. Ram, that is the household. Household goes and deposits that money in the bank, so he gets interest rate. Okay, whatever interest is paid to the household and whatever interest is earned from the business, if you just take out the income paid to the households from the income earned, then you will get to know what is the earning of the bank. Simple, let's say, don't worry, interest paid, say interest earned हटा दो, let's say interest paid is 5 rupees, interest earned is 10 rupees, the answer is 5 rupees is your spread, that is earning. Okay, after that again what happens? When this businessman wants to set up a business, it will need factors of production. Factors of production were land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. So these factors of production is provided to him by the households itself. On the very factors of production, they are also being paid factor payments. So this is there. So this diagram, if you decrease the government from the diagram, you will get to see this is going on in the society. Everything is interrelated: production, consumption, investment. These three things were there in the slide also. Now again a new player comes, government. To boost the exports or to boost the production, he says ki suno, listen, I am giving you subsidies so that whatever raw material you have to buy, you will buy at a less rate. Okay, now if you were having 10 rupees, okay, and then you are able to produce 10 units, now this 10 rupees you won't have to spend. Okay, you are getting that 10 units for rupees, let's say 8 only. So with this 2 extra rupees left in your pocket, produce more. So now he can produce, let's say 12. Okay, so exports are boosted, production is boosted. In return, they will be paid taxes, corporate tax, excise tax, custom duty, income tax. All this will be paid by the households, business to the government. Now households will also be paying taxes to the government, and with that tax amount, government works for the welfare of the people. Households only, na, if they are making roads, they are making health facilities better, if they are making better transport facilities, if they are making, let's say, if they are making a big AIIMS in, let's say, somewhere in UP, so that is for the welfare of the people only, so that those students can study in AIIMS, have better medical facilities for the poor, okay, because AIIMS doesn't charge money. So all this is done for the welfare of the people. That is it. Now economic activities, I have explained each and everything in a very clear mode. Production I have said, consumption I have said, investment I have said. Okay, investment, when anything is called investment, when can you say something as investment? For example, let's say ki I spended rupees 10,000 to buy myself a phone. What for? What is the purpose for which I am using that phone? To play FIFA. Okay, to play FIFA on my phone, to talk to friends, okay, to talk with my friends, or to talk to my colleagues. That is the basic purpose of the phone, basic use to have that phone. I spent 10,000 rupees. Is that giving anything in return to me? The answer is a strict no. it is not giving anything in return. I am not being able to make money with it. So that spending goes into vain. That is not an investment. With the same 10,000 rupees, I go and try to buy myself a tab with which I can study, with which I can attend online lectures. Is that investment worth investment? Yes, because if I will study, then I will be able to educate myself, and also will be a huge boost to the society if I am able to reach some heights. Or even if I am only going and earning, let's say in a private institute or in a private company, let's say 20,000 per month, that is also worth it, because actually I am not getting dependent upon anyone. But with that phone, with that spending on phone, am I getting anything in return? The answer is no, I am not getting anything in return. Why will I get anything in return? I am only using that phone to play FIFA and PES on my phone. So that is actually, I am not only wasting the money, I am also wasting the time. This is the case with me. I am playing PUBG on that game and on that phone with those big headphone ons, enemy ahead, all these things I am doing. So I am actually wasting my money. So whenever, let's say, if a businessman comes, he spends, let's say 10,000 rupees on a sewing machine. Okay, he opens a factory, he puts 10 sewing machine there, and for that he has to pay 10,000 rupees. So he doesn't only spends that money, he will also now employ at least 9 more people, because he is one person. 9 more person can come here and they will be paid wages for that or salary for that, and now he can start up a business. He can start stitching clothes, he will be charging for that, and with that 10,000 he is making a monthly income of 25,000 per month. So that is actually a investment. A machine, let's say, again more simple I am making it. With 10 laborers, I was able to till, or I was able to plow 1 kattha of a land, 1 acre, let's say 1 acre of a land in one day. I go and now I am buying a tractor, and now I am being able to do the same thing in only 1 or 2 hours. So I am also saving my money on this 10 laborers, because only 1 laborer will be needed. So let's say I am the laborer, I will just drive the tractor. So at least I am saving the money for 9 people. And tractor is not a one day affair. It is a machine. It can be used for at least 10 to 13, 15 years if everything goes well. It can be used with some repairing and some investment. Not only I am saving those 2 hours, I am also saving the money on these people. I am also now going and plowing the land of other people, the fields of other people. So it also a source of earning for me. That tractor is also giving me returns. So this is investment. I am setting up a smart board, a pen, a laptop, a camera, a system, a lights, projector, all this I am setting up, ACs for this to make this studio. Am I able to earn? Yes, with this studio I will be running online classes. Okay, I will be giving classes, I will be recording classes for YouTube, and then I will be earning from there itself. So it is also a investment, not waste. Okay. So I hope investment is also, capital formation is clear. This is a capital formation, you are forming capital. This is it. These are 3 basic economic activities. I just explained it to you why they are interrelated and independent, interdependent, not independent. These three economic activities are responsible for generating the income flows in the economy. An increase in the production of goods, services increase the level of consumption, capital formation. Increase in consumption is an indicator of rising standard of living of people. Earn more, spend more. Simple. Earning बढ़ा, खर्चा बढ़ गया. If you are earning more, you are also spending more. Increase in capital formation is also important as the growth of the country depends on it. More capital formation, higher is the growth of the country. Because higher the capital of formation, higher is the production, higher is the production, higher is the exports. Always keep this in mind. Keep reminding this to yourself. Sir keeps explaining this thing each and every time. Why is sir doing it? Why is he irritating us with this thing every time? Because this thing will help you understand the concepts. So, higher is the production, higher is the exports, because you can't consume them all, you will have to export, otherwise those things will be getting wasted. Higher is the exports, higher is the earning, that is foreign currency, foreign reserves go up. Now RBI is backed by sufficient assets, more assets, so it can print more, it can give more money to the banks, which will result in more lending, then what happen? Again, more people, if loans is available, more investment, more jobs, rise in standard of living. All this is happening. I am getting tired, these things are getting tired, but mind doesn't get tired. It keeps on keep this cycle going. Always keep doing this. You will be understanding economy in just 2 or 5 minutes, only 5 minutes. Okay, this is a very easy cycle to make. This was like Thanos doing this, whole half of the universe goes into vain. So done this, economy finish. Understand? So any doubts till now, feel free to ask. So now we come to the production. Already explained factors of production. Only this thing is given in the slide. You can easily remember ki what is production. Factor incomes. What are factor incomes? Whatever factors of production are there, whatever payments they are being done, factor payments to factor production, they are known as factor incomes. Simple. Again, non-factor incomes. Now, this is a new thing. Try to understand. For example, one of my relative comes, let's say my mama comes, mama, uncle, tao, whatever you know. Mama comes, mama is mom's brother, okay. He loves me too much. So when he comes, so at the time of leaving, he gives me 500 rupees. 500 rupees. Did I do anything to deserve that money? The answer is no. Just giving a glass of water to anyone doesn't mean ki yes, you deserve that 500. Although I am saying, but I think I deserve. Because my mama keeps just pressurizing me a lot to do those things. Whenever he comes, he says, go bring this thing, bring that thing. So he disturbs me a lot. So I think personally I deserve. But the answer is ki I didn't sacrifice anything to get that money. Okay. I didn't sacrifice anything to get that money. So now the question comes ki what type of income is that income? It's neither coming from production, neither coming from anything else. Okay. So it is not coming from any factors of production. So money receipts which do not involve any sacrifice on the parts of their recipients. The examples are gifts, donation, etc. Okay. Examples are gifts, donation, etc. So these money are called non-factor incomes. Means if you have not worked for it, not a single production process is involved in that process. So those incomes are called as non-factor incomes. Okay. Now another one is the consumption. So to understand consumption, it's very simple. We have also taught you key what are the different things, what are investment, what is production. So we come to the conclusion that what is consumption, key it is use of goods and services for satisfaction of human wants. For example, let's say key if I want to have a cup of tea, so whatever goods, milk, okay, sugar, tea leaves, ginger, whatever is needed to make that cup of tea, those are use of goods and services. Services, the person who is making it, okay, for satisfaction of human want, that is for my satisfaction. Okay, if I am having a cup of tea, I usually do it for my satisfaction because I love having tea. If I am having a plate of biryani, so whatever use of goods and resources has been done, that is done for my satisfaction. So whenever you consume anything and if it is giving you satisfaction, that process will known as consumption. Now it doesn't mean ki you are having a, let's say, sweet, okay, let's say you had a rasgulla, you say ki no, I didn't like it, but you actually had it, so that is also consumption, that is also consumption. Okay. Another one, investment capital formation, just explained ki the savings of the households goes to the bank, from there the bank goes to the industrialists as loans. So when industrialists they invest that money, they that results into capital formation. Okay, when it results into capital formation, increased number of jobs, increase per capita income, increase in the growth of the economy or country. Okay, I hope I am clear to everyone. Till now everything is explained. Now comes the next thing, incremental capital output ratio, that is ICOR. Okay, incremental capital output ratio, that is ICOR. What is incremental capital output ratio? Whatever is the additional investment, let's say for year 2020-21, I was having investment of 10 lakh rupees in my company, let's say ABC Limited, till the year financial year 2019-20. Okay, in 2021 when I saw that there is a pandemic, this is the time I can earn more from my coaching by going online, so I spended 1 lakh rupees more in camera, in system, in other stuff. So my investment is now 11 lakh rupees. So whatever additional money I am being able to earn from it, you will have to divide it. So let's say with this 1 lakh extra investment, earlier with this 10 lakh rupees I was earning, let's say 5 lakh to 6 lakh rupees profit per year. Now I am earning, you will have to say ki I am earning 6,50,000 rupees. Okay, when my investment was 10 lakh rupees, I was being able to earn say 5 lakh. Now when my investment is 11 lakh rupees, I am being able to earn 5,50,000 as profit after giving salary, rent, this, that, all. Okay, so this extra 50,000 whatever I am earning, this is my additional output. Okay, so when you divide this, the answer is 2. Okay, this is the incremental capital output ratio. If you didn't get this, let me explain it once more. Even if you get this, understand and listen once more. For example, when the investment was 1 lakh rupees, let's say when the investment was 1 lakh rupees, I was able to produce 500 goods. Okay, 500, let's say anything, pens. Okay, with the investment of 1 lakh rupees, I was able to produce 500 pens. Now, when I invested, let's say 10,000 more, when I invested 10,000 more money, I am being able to make 550 pens. When I am able to make 550 pens, so whatever this extra I am able to make, let's say 50 I am making extra, additional investment is 1 lakh rupees or 10,000 rupees, sorry, divided by this 50, divided by this 50. So when you divide this 10,000 by 50, you will get the incremental capital output ratio, ki what extra output you were able to get by investing this extra money. Ki if I invested some extra money, what was the additional output which was I able to earn. This is simple, nothing else. I hope everyone is clear. I hope everyone understands this. If any doubt is there, feel free to ask. Everyone, am I clear to everyone? Feel free to ask. Don't worry. I can explain it several times until and unless you get it. It's clear, sir, says Devashish. Okay, Kumud. Kumud says, Devashish says, yes, sir, it's clear, clear. Okay. From here, let's take our class further to the next slide. Is what we know as branches of economics. There are two branches all of us know, one is micro, one is macro. So first we will try to read about micro. What is microeconomics? It examines the economic behavior of individual actors, okay, individual level. Micro by the very word itself means very small. So it is done at a very small level, understand, very small level. So it examines the economic behavior of economic actors such as consumers, businesses, households, etc. to understand how decisions are made in the face of scarcity and what effects they have. Okay, this is done. Okay, am I audible to everyone? Am I audible to everyone? Anyone please reply, am I audible? Yes, okay. There was a malfunction with mic, so that is why I asked this. Okay, so microeconomics, it examines the economic behavior of individual actors, okay, to understand ki how decisions are made, how to understand the demand of a consumer, how to understand ki what to produce for that consumer, the producer, the businesses, okay, the households, ki what are the basic tendencies of households, how much they want to save, how much they want to spend, all you will have to examine. So this economics, microeconomics studies these behavior, okay. The word micro means very small, so micro implies study of economics at a very small level, very small level. In microeconomics, we study the behavior of an individual as a buyer and seller. Let's say I am a buyer and that milkman Dudhwala is the seller, okay. So the economic decisions taken by a single individual become the subject matter of microeconomics. Very simple. Simple words I have used so that you get to understand each and every concepts in a very lucid manner, very simple manner. If you have to work hard, then that means ki I don't want to work hard. So I am working hard to make your task easier, okay. It's a simple economics again, because if you understand well, then you will say good things about me, okay. This is it. I always love my students, in return I expect love from them. So if you love the class, then perform well in the class. I don't need anything else from you. This is it. For example, now as a buyer, individual has to make a decision with regard to quantity of the good to be purchased at a given price. Simple. Let's say ki if the seller is selling 20 rupees potato, okay, if someone is selling potato for rupees 20 per kg, so I will have to understand ki as being a buyer, am I ready to buy that good for 20 rupees? Because in the other market last night I saw कि someone was selling it for 21 rupees or let's say कि 15 rupees. So should I be giving that 20 rupees to him, or is that potato beneficial for me? Is it necessary for me to buy? Okay, so these all decisions should be taken. So these decisions are by individuals. As a seller, individual has to take decisions regarding the quantity of goods to be supplied at a given price, so that he can earn some profit. For let's say I go and ask him ki sir, bhaiya, I need 2 kgs potato, but I am not willing to pay you 20 rupees per kg. So we'll say ki okay, what amount are you willing to pay? I say listen, I am willing to pay 15 rupees. Now he sees that he has bought that potatoes for an amount of 14 rupees. After paying for the transportation and all the other charges, the mandi charges which he has been paying, so he is, if he charges only 1 rupees as profit, then he will be in a loss. So after adding all the cost, he says ki listen, I can't bring it down from 18 rupees. This is the last price I am willing to offer. Are you accepting it or not? If you are willing to accept it, it's good, I am packing it. If you are not, then move ahead. Simple. So as a seller, he takes his individual decision. All of us pay price to buy a good. How does this price gets determined in the market? Microeconomics provides answer to this question. Whatever market price is there, all this answer is being provided by microeconomics. Okay. In order to produce a good, an individual producer has to take, okay, what it is saying, decision as, one second, how to combine the various factors of production so that maximum output can be produced at a minimum cost. How to combine the various factors of production? Ki he is having, let's say, if a producer is not being able to combine all the factors of production together, he will never be able to produce. First thing, even if he is producing in any way, he will not be doing it in a cost effective manner. For example, if he is using labor on a daily basis and he has said them ki you will have to produce 3 units per day, otherwise I will be cutting your salary. So those people are given actually targets. So after doing that 300 units, they will stop working because the target is reached. So he is doing it in that manner. Okay. The land which he has taken, okay, the landowner says you will have to increase the rent. So he is also now in a problem. So all these factors should be taken care of before doing anything. The labor, they should not be given that much target. They will have to say ki listen, if you will be producing more than 300 commodities, then you will be paid, you will be given benefits of that. Then see that labor will be producing 400 units per day, because now he is incentivized for that na. Earlier you were just going and frightening him, okay, you were actually trying to blame him that he is doing less work, but now in return what you are giving, you are saying listen, produce more, in return I will give you back whatever I am earning the profit with your efforts. So this is the case. So if you are able to combine all these together, okay, then profit maximization is possible and cost effective good can be done. Okay. Another branch of economics, this is macro. Macro means as a whole, big level, ठीक है, and its features like national income, employment, poverty, balance of payment, inflation. The word macro by means very large, means very large. In comparison to an individual, it does for a society or the country or economy as a whole. Okay, the whole world it covers. It has a very big horizon. So the economic decisions taken at the level of economy as a whole are subject matter of macroeconomics. Whatever being decision, for example budget, okay, for example budget, whatever money I am ready to invest in the defense sector, whatever money I am ready to spend in the agriculture sector, how much money should be given to the farmers, at what should be the MSP for farmers, what is the basic price that we should pay to the laborers, all this decision is taken by studying macroeconomics. Okay. For example, inflation or price rise. Whenever inflation happens or there is a rise in price, it does not affect a single individual. It affects the economy as a whole. Okay. So knowing its causes and effects as well as controlling it come under the study of macroeconomics. So when you see that there is a rise in inflation, inflation is rising, at that time what you will do? You will decrease the money in the market. So increase the repo rate. Increase the repo rate. Banks are having less money now because they have to pay a higher rate of interest to borrow money from RBI. So banks are left with less money. Since supply is less, demand more, then supply less, demand is more, so therefore price will be more. So higher the rate of interest, higher rate of interest. When rate of interest is higher, simple, people will avoid taking loans as they will have to pay higher rates. So when the people are not having money, investment is less, generally inflation will come down because market mein money hi nahi hai, there is no money in the market. So how will be able to spend it? Simple. This is it. Sorry. So all this is done at the level of macroeconomics. It's not the level of an individual. Again, types of economics. It's very easy. Just try to read the slide once, and here till now if you have any doubt, feel free to ask. What is repo rate? Kumud, why you are in a hurry? I just said the rate at which banks borrow money from RBI. What is inflation, sir? General price rise. General price rise. General rise in price of goods is known as inflation. Anyone else? Any doubts till now? Feel free to ask or say clear, sir. Come on, keep answering. Okay, thanks Debashish. For rising price, what are you trying to know, Ullas? General rise in the price of commodities is known as inflation. General rise, for example, let's say potato was being sold at 20 rupees per kg, all of a sudden now it is being sold at 25 rupees per kg. It is general price rise. The price keeps rising because earlier there were excess of potatoes. Now what happened? Due to a crop failure, the number of potatoes are less. So demands are still that much only, but the supply is less. So people are not getting potatoes. So whoever is having potato, he will have to pay much more money. So that is why that is also known as general price rise. Simple. Thank you, sir. I lost in the middle. Don't worry, I am always there. You help me, I'll help you. Keep answering. Be attentive in class and just know that I am there for you. I will help you in any cost, at any cost. Okay? Or here to without any cost. Market or capitalist economy. This is my bread and butter, Ullas. I love economy. more than anything. Okay, anything. It is the oldest form of economy. Market, free market. Capitalist means free market economy. Okay, minimum government intervention in the economic activities. All the decisions are being taken by the entrepreneur itself. Role of government is to help free and efficient functioning of the markets. Individuals have the right to property. Consumer is the king in this market. Government does not say what to produce, how to produce, when to produce. It is not the role of the government. Okay, individuals are free to choose any occupation. Whatever you want, you can do. Okay, consumer is the king, as whatever he demands, the producer produces that only. So this is also there. Self-interest, guiding motive. Okay, guiding principle. Profit motive is the guiding principle. Now, if we are producing more, we are earning more profit. You can't charge extra also. First thing, if you are only doing it, you can't even charge people extra for it, because at the same time, I said only doing it, then it's monopoly, you can charge. But if you are also producing potato, another one is also producing potato, so if you are selling it at a higher price, no one will buy from you. If he is getting the same good at at a lower cost, why will people come to you? Simple. So this is it. Efficient self-regulated economy, no restrictions on entry and exit of firms. Come and go, no one is going to stop you. This is the case with market and capitalist economies. Okay, I hope I am clear to everyone. If any doubts is there, feel free to ask. Okay, centrally planned or socialist economy क्या है भैया, देखते हैं. Let's see. All productive resources owned and controlled by government. All are owned and controlled by the government. Decisions taken by government at macro level. How to produce, what to produce, when to produce, everything is being decided by the government only. Okay, the main motive is now social welfare, not profit motive, social welfare, because name itself says socialist. So welfare of the people, welfare of the society is the main motive. Central planning authority keeps the national priorities. For example, let's say in pandemic, we need to do what? In the pandemic, we need to focus more on essential commodities, because that's the necessity. So government will tell them to produce more for rice, more of wheat, more of vegetables, so that people get benefited by that. Government takes all economic decisions regarding production, consumption, investment, keeping in mind the present and future needs. Okay, whatever the planning authorities are there, they fix the targets and ensure utilization of resources. This is done. So earlier we saw ki all were the private players, no government intervention. Here everything is government, no private intervention. Okay, no private ownership. Everything is in the hands of the government. Earlier no hands of government were there. It was only as an advisory body. Now mixed economy. It takes the benefits of both, means positive parts of both the economies. Best features of both. Public and private sectors coexists. PPP, public private partnership. Public private partnership. Let me give an example. Let's say the airport line, the Dwarka to the airport of Delhi, Indira Gandhi Airport. Even Indira Gandhi Airport, it has been developed by Reliance. Okay, does it belongs to Reliance? Answer is no, it belongs to the government. Then why Reliance is developing it? So that since government is not having money, government says ki listen, I am bringing out tenders. Whoever will make, you can charge whatever you think you have given to this airport in making this airport. Once you are done with your charges, you are done with collecting your charges, after that the airport belongs to me, because it is on my land, it is on my land itself. He also says yes, why not? If I am able to earn, then fine. He will also count his profit in it. Everyone is doing anything for profit only. Many times you will see by going through highways, many a times you will see ki there is a board of Larsen and Toubro, L&T construction, making roads. is those are not private roads, because those belong to the government. You have to pay road tax to the government. So why is L&T making it? Because government is telling them ki listen, you make highways, collect the toll taxes, when you are done with collecting, then highway again belongs to me. The D&D Delhi Noida, it was also there. PPP, public private partnership, just invest, collect, leave, then that property belongs to me. Okay, the metro, the Delhi Dwarka line, all was made, airport Dwarka line which was made, it was made by Reliance. Who is collecting the money? Reliance is collecting the money. So it is nothing but public private partnership. For example, if you think, some times ago some news was there ki Modi is trying to sell the country. There was some news, because what happened ki whatever our national heritages were there, for example Lal Killa, Qutub Minar, all these were given to some companies. Okay, so they said ki listen, they have sold it to the company, they are selling the countries, they are selling the artifacts of the country. This is not the case, bacha. Just try to understand this in a better way. Whenever government is doing that thing, whenever government is giving that property to the private owner, they are not selling it. They say ki listen, what you have to do is that you have to look after this property, so that this is a basic, this is the national heritage, these are the cultures of our country. So if you go repair them and keep them in the good shape, whatever tourism we are attracting because of that, whatever money you have spent there, you can collect that money and then you can leave. Again property belongs to the government. So it is done for that. You should never underestimate government or never take government as wrong. Government is not doing wrong here. People at a general pan dukan or a pan shop, they start questioning the government on small grounds. Okay, this is not the case. You will have to be informed citizens, because your examination wants you to be informed, but informed not in a wrong way. That is why teachers are made. The books are everywhere present in the market, but why student goes to the school? So that anyone explain him the right meaning of that. Understand? So you should try to understand things in a better way. So this is it. Public sector under direct control of the government. For example, let's say Air India is there. Air India is there, direct control of the government. Indian Railways, direct control of the government. Okay, this is it. Private sector provided encouragement, incentives, support and subsidies to work as per national priorities. They are spending money on private sectors also, they are giving them subsidies, but they are also saying, listen, we are a country whose motive is welfare. So whatever step you are taking, just make sure that my country is getting welfare. My people, you are thinking for the welfare of my people. If you are doing that, very well. If you are not doing that, I am not going to incentivize you. This is the case. So this is also done. Government uses its various policies. Let's say licensing. I will not give the license if you are not working according to me. Okay, if you are not working for the welfare of the people, we will not allow you to open, or we will not allow you to just go and do the kheti of, let's say, ganja, afim, whatever are the demerit goods in the society, you can't do that. For example, you cannot produce weed, okay, also known as ganja. I don't know what is another name, weed. Okay, those things are not allowed, because just because you want to earn money, you can't go and produce those things, because eventually you will be selling those things to my people only, na. So my people will be high all the times, saying Bhole Baba all the time. These all things needs to be taken care by the government. It won't allow people to be dying just for the sake of earning money, because they work for the welfare of the people. This is the case. Taxation policy. Higher the amount, higher the earning you are having, higher is the taxes paid. For example, he can't ask me to pay that much tax what Ambani is paying. I am not even earning that much. Not even my forefathers have seen that amount of money. This is mixed economy. I hope I am clear to everyone. So now types of economies. Some are developed economies, some are underdeveloped economies. How can we measure them? For example, if some country is having high national and per capita income, it is known as developed. High rate of capital formation, high savings, okay, this country is known as developed. High education, highly educated people, better civic facilities, better health facilities, all this is done. In short, developed countries have high standard of living. Example, UK, US. Acha, I forgot you to give the examples of economies. So, capitalist or free market economy, UK, US. Okay, socialist, Russia, China, mixed, India. Okay, these are the examples. Mixed economy, India. Socialist economy, Russia, China. Okay, and capitalist economy are UK and US, France, Australia, etc. So, if you are developed economy, you are said that because you have better national facilities, better national income, better capital formation, better health and civic facilities, all these are there. Okay. So, this is it. Developing economy on the other hand will not have these facilities. With that, last slide is open economy versus closed economy. Since I think you all have done much more in today's class, so we will be starting with this thing in our next class. We also lack the time. Okay. So, best of luck for your preparation. I am always there. If you have any doubts, keep writing those notes in your class and just send it to me in Telegram, so that in next class when I come, I will start with those doubts only. Okay, I'll be explaining those doubts to you. Till now, if any doubt is there, feel free to ask, or let's wrap up the lecture. Thank you all.